Hey guys, this is your assignment video for part 4, reflecting ordered pairs over the X and Y axis. So let's go ahead and get started, okay? The first few questions are going to be based on getting a 4-quadrant grid and reflecting the given point, okay? So point A is shown below. They want you to reflect A across the x-axis, then reflect that result across the y-axis. So this is a double flip. Okay, they're starting you off strong, I guess. So here we go. I always say pretend that you have like a spatula and you are flipping it over something, or you can just replace the word reflect with the word jump. Okay, so you're going to jump over the x-axis and then the y. Okay, so starting here, if you have to jump over the x-axis, where would you end up? This is the x-axis. If I had to jump over it, I'm going to be over here somewhere, right? Then I need to jump over the y-axis. Okay, so this is the y-axis, so that means I need to jump over here. Okay, you're always jumping over that line. Your fingers should like cross over that line. I'm not going to have you guys cross over like catty corner. So if you find yourself doing that, you've done something a little oopsie. Okay. So again, starting off at A, I'm going to jump across the X and then jump across the Y. Okay. So then plot the final point. Remember, all you have to do is know what your original order pair was and then change up the signs. Okay, so here we go. In order to get to A, I would have to walk first, +7, and then I would need to go down. So that means it's going to be a negative amount. I'd go down 5. Okay, so that's my original ordered pair. So if I take 7 and 5 and I put it over here, all I have to do is figure out if they're going to be positive or negative. So starting at my origin, to get anywhere over here, I have to walk backwards and up. Well, to go backwards is an automatic negative, right? And up is an automatic positive. So this is my new ordered pair. Okay, so plot the final point. You only have to plot that. You don't have to plot your first jump. So I need to plot -7, +5. Okay, -7, +5. -7, and then +5 from there. Cool. All righty. Moving right along. Okay, the figure below has a point marked, right, with a large dot. First, reflect the figure across the x-axis. Okay, so in order to reflect an entire figure, it means I'm going to flip it like a pancake. Okay, so I'm not just going to slide it over. It'll look different. If I flip it, it's going to be its opposite image, right? So if you look over here, you have 2 options, right? If it says flip it across the x-axis, am I going to be going across like this, across the vertical line, or am I going to be flipping it like a pancake across the horizontal line? Well, this is your x-axis, right? So if I put a spatula underneath it, I need to flip it across the x-axis. So it's going to be across this horizontal line. So I'm going to click that. Okay, here's my line, and that's my new, it like did that automatically. Okay, so I chose what to do, and I'm going to go back here and show you again. Well, maybe I'm not. Start over, maybe? Nope, won't let me. Neat. Oh, here we go. Okay. So as soon as I said, I wanted to go over this horizontal line, when I click that, this guy's weird though. It can go anywhere. So I had to tell it I want it on the actual x-axis. And then as soon as I clicked my cursor down, it automatically created this image for me. Okay. So I reflected the image over the x-axis, then give the coordinates of the marked point in the original and the final figure. So in the original figure, how would I get there? Starting at my origin, I would have to go back 4, up 3. So to go back 4 is -4. To go up 3 is a +3. Okay, that's my original. My final figure causes me to go back 4 and down 3. So back 4 is a negative. Down 3 is also a negative. Okay. So it's there's quite a few steps to that, but it's not too bad. Okay. Same concept, right? So I have this figure here. It's saying reflect the figure across the y-axis. This is my y-axis. I want it to go across it. Okay, I'm going to flip it over here. So I need to flip it over a vertical line, an up and down line. So I need to go over here and ask it to do that. Okay, and again, this guy, I don't know why they let you do this, but you need to click it so it lands on the y-axis, and then it automatically creates the shape for you. So moving on to the second part, I need to give the coordinates. So let's look at the original coordinate right here. Okay, so to start off at my origin, I would have to go forward 4 and down 7. So that's a +4 and a -7. Okay, +4, -7. Now my final figure, right, to get here, if I start at the origin, I need to go to the left, or I always say back, but to the left 4 and then down 7. So if I go back and down, both of those are negatives. Okay, so I have a -4, -7. And I do want to point out again, just like in the lesson video, notice that the numbers are the same, right? 4, 4, 7, 7. The only thing that changes when you reflect around the grid is if it's a positive or a negative answer. That's the only thing that changes, okay? Here we go. One more like this. So again, here's my shape. Reflect it across the x-axis. This is my x-axis, and I need to go across it. So I need to be down here, right? I need to jump over this horizontal line, right? So find that horizontal and click it. Again, it moves around weird, so I want to make sure it's on the actual x-axis because that's what it's asking me to do. As soon as I click the x-axis, it creates this, okay? So starting at my origin, I need to walk and then go up or down, okay? So to get here at the original, I need to walk +2 and climb +3, okay? +2, +3, because I'm going forward and up. To get to my new and final figure, I have to go forward and down. Forward's a positive, but down is a negative. So if forward's a positive, it's a +2. Down is a negative, so that means I have a -3. I knew 2 and 3 were going to stay. The numbers always stay the same. The positive and negatives are the only thing that change, okay? I'm not going to keep going because I feel like I've done that enough with you guys. All right, moving right on. Given the coordinates, give the coordinates of the point obtained from each reflection. So this is different. You're not actually given the grid. So I'm going to bust out my pen here. Okay, so you're going to reflect the point across the x-axis. You can just easily do this on your dry erase board. Okay, so all you have to do is find out where would -60 be. Okay, so if I'm starting in my origin, and -6 means to go backwards, 0 means you're not moving at all, right? So you're sitting right here on the x-axis. You haven't moved, right? So if it asks you to jump over the x-axis, you can't because you're sitting on it. I could jump over the y-axis, right? I could jump over this line, but that's not what it's asking me to do. It's literally asking me to jump over the line that I'm on. I mean, literally, don't get confused. Think if you were standing on a line in gym and I asked you to jump over it, like you can't, you're standing on it, okay? So I'm going to go through and I'm going to actually mark it up, right? So what would be my new ordered pair? It would still be -6, 0. Okay. Now, what about this next one? If I reflect the point -6, 0 across the y-axis. So I have -6, 0 still, and I want to reflect it over the y-axis. I'm literally jumping over this line. So I'm going to end up over here somewhere, right? Okay. Well, remember, your numbers always stay the same. So I know I have a 6 and I know I have a 0. I just have to know if it's positive or negative, right? So if I'm starting here at the origin and I'm walking forward, I know that's a +6. And then my second round, I'm not going up or down, so that just stays a 0, right? You never have a +0 or a -0. So this is my new ordered pair, okay? I have a 6 and a 0. It was a good example one. I liked the fact that they gave me a 0 one to show you. So here we go. We'll do one more. Okay. So again, you don't get an actual grid. I don't recommend getting a grid worksheet from me or a grid on your dry erase board because it'll just slow you down because this is the actual skill you're trying to practice. Okay. So draw your X and Y axis, and this should be all you need. Okay. We're going to take 5, -7, and plot it like fake plot it. Okay, here I am at my origin. I know my first number is a positive, so I walk forward. My second number is a negative, so I walk down. Okay, I have no idea where I would be. I'm somewhere here. Okay, somewhere in this vicinity. Okay, all I need to know is what to jump across. This is my y-axis, and I need to jump across it. So I'm going to be here somewhere, right? Again, my numbers stay the same. 5 and 7 stay the same, right? The only thing that changes is if it's a positive or a negative, depending on the quadrant it's in. So how the heck do I get down here, right? So let's look. If I start at my origin, I would have to go backwards, which means it's a negative, and I would have to go down, which means that's a negative. Okay, every number in here is a negative, negative. Okay, cool. Shall we, oh, dang it. So let me go through, and we have a negative, negative. So it's a -5 and a -7. And the first one, do you remember what that was? I don't remember. That's how fast my brain goes. Okay. So if I have a +5, -7, and I want to go across the y-axis, I would end up, oh, is that what I just did? Yeah, okay. So if I go across the y-axis, I would end up with -5, -7. So that's where that goes. Tweak. -5, -7. Okay, not this one. Silly little Lauren. Okay, here we go. Okay, so then looking at this instead, okay, I still have my 5, -7. So where would that be? +5, -7, somewhere here, right? And I need to go across the x-axis. This is x, right? So that means I need to cross over the x, and I'm over here somewhere, correct? So any number in this quadrant, it's still a 5, it's still a 7. Just have to know if it's positive or negative. And think about it. If you're here, you have to go forward and up, which is a positive movement. So I know that I still have a 5 and it's positive, and I still have a 7 and that's positive. Cool. Okay, let's keep going. I'm not going to keep doing these. I think you should be able to use the same problems to practice, okay? All right, this is a little different, I think. Okay, so reflect 9, -7 across the x, then across the y, and then tell me the coordinates. Okay, so let's look at this then. I have my fake little grid, right? I have +9, which would be forward, and -7. So it's somewhere here, okay? It can be wherever I want. It's positive, negative, okay? Then it says to jump across the x, then across the y. So I'm going to go across the x here, then across the y. Okay, let me show you that again. This is my x-axis, so I need to go across it. Then from there, I need to go across the y-axis, so that's why I end up over here. Okay, I don't really care where I plot it. I know it's just in this quadrant. Okay, it's somewhere in quadrant 2. So again, I know my numbers are 9 and 7. Based on the quadrant I'm in, will they be positive or negative? So start it off. Here we are, dead center. And my origin, if I go backwards and up, what is that? Backwards or to the left is negative. And then up is a positive. So I've got my answer, right? I've got a -9 and a +7. Cool. All right, and that is your assignment.